today we will be talking about like the FHIR Data Ingestion Tool with Carlos. So let's start the video. Then after that, we will be happy to get your questions right after this session. Thank you. So my name is Ibrahim Kivanc and I'm working at Microsoft, and we have Carlos on the call as well.
Hi, folks.
So we would like to give a little bit details about who we are. First of all, my name is Ibrahim Kivanc and I'm software engineer at Microsoft, and I'm working at Microsoft around 12 years.
Yeah, so my name is Carlos. I'm a senior software engineer for Microsoft as well, and I've been in Microsoft for 6 years.
So today, we would like to talk about FHIR Data Ingestion Tool. So basically, this is an open source project, so that is just helping you to get your health data from different formats, such as Parquet files or CSV tabular format files. So basically, these are the supported formats. If you would like to add yours, you can just easily integrate into this tool. So this is how it works. So basically we have two different file types. First one is the Parquet file and then CSV files. So basically we have a process the FHIR ingestion tool process. So what it does this is just taking in the 3 steps. The first converter, we have a specific format called liquid templates. So that liquid templates is helping us to get the data and then map into a specific format. And then we are just sharing this thing as ND-JSON files, and then we are passing to the anonymizer side.
Yeah, so in the anonymizer stage, what we are doing essentially is going over the output of the converter stage and grabbing that content, those ND-JSONs, and running over this tool that we will show you in a moment, that it's actually built in our tool, that essentially is going to anonymize that content before publishing it. So once it's published, what our tool does is essentially go over the anonymized content output and just publish it towards a FHIR server. And the demo that we're going to show is we're going to use an Azure Healthcare API for that.
So right now, this is an open source tool. You can get it from this link. So this is aka.ms/FHIR ingestion tool. So once you go to this website, so basically there is a nice samples from Microsoft Healthcare team. So it is called Microsoft Healthcare API samples. So we added our samples there. If you can go to one of the samples in here, how to convert an anonymized Parquet CSV data and ingest to FHIR Server. So you can just get the details about this. And once you go to the detail, you can just see the whole process, how it works. And at the same time, you can just get more details about the process. In this case, we use Azure Active Directory, but this is up to you. You can just pick whatever platform you choose. And then for the whole stages, you can just get more details about how these are working. And at the same time, you can just find all the contributors into this project. So this is our great team at Microsoft. So you can just see all the details there. So now let's go back to the presentation. And then this is time for the demo. So for the demo, once you go to that specific repository, you will be able to get a C# application. And in this C# application, you can see all the stages we described to you. So as you can see, we have the main app, so where will we be starting? And then after that, we will have all the processes such as converter, anonymizer, and publisher. So let's go to the app file. So basically, in this app project, we have a template called config sample JSON. So what you need to do is this is a really flexible environment, so where you can define your input folder and an output folder, so you can just easily understand where you can just put your stuff, and at the same time you can define your the templates. And at the same time, you can just give more detail about where your output directory, and also all other details about your anonymizer tools. And at the same time, like for the publisher, like as we mentioned, like we just selected like Azure Active Directory supported like now FHIR's healthcare like APIs. So the basically like this is helping you to just authenticate into the system. So let's go back to the sample, and like in here, like what we did is like we just gave our like our sample, like now this is already filled in my like now local, and then like you can just get more detail. So this is a C# solution, but once you like get the open source tool, like you will be able to like get all the details in here. So this is a C# tool side like in the source code, but actually like in the config side, like now we have like the more details, such as like you can see like the data side. So you can just get more details about like the sample data, and at the same time like anonymizer tool like Carlos will be talking about, but like in here like we have also like the templates. So if you can just have a look at the data, for example, the patient data, like we have some like data in here like related to patient, but our main focus is claims. So we would like to like create like everything based around like claims. So that's why like we have some like details about like patient ID, like entry ID and insurer ID. So the cool thing is like we have all the data in here, but as I mentioned, like this is in a tabular format. But what we need to do is like we need to create a FHIR like a template. And like in this FHIR format, like we are using the template called like liquid template. So if I can go to the bundle liquid, so we are just putting everything in one big bundle like per claim. So what we do is like we are just like having a loop like around these claims, and then we are just getting like the more details about that specific claim, like who is the enterer, like who is the patient, and same thing for the entry role and all other details. So once we provide like some metadata as well, like regarding what we provide, then after that, like we are just looping into our bundle. So in this bundle, like as you can see, like we have some specific components like patient, claim, and also like other like the types. So all of them are available like under components. So this is really flexible, and you can just easily define your own template, and you can just easily like put into like one place, and then you can reference back. So this is really great way to like reuse those. Same thing for the converters. Like if you have different data type, like if you would like to convert into a specific format, for example, like gender is like say it as M and F format, but actually like the FHIR is accepting like the male or female. So you can just easily map these kind of data. Same thing for like status or like other details. So once we like run this, so this will be like saving into one place. So we have a folder called like output folder, and then like everything like mapped will be like moving to the anonymizer part. So where like Carlos will be explaining about like all the details.
Yeah, so thank you, Ibrahim. As I mentioned on the next stage, where we pick up this converted data from tabular format to FHIR, we still have the stage where we essentially anonymize this data. For this stage, we are using, or in this case, reusing an existing open source tool, also called Tools for Health Data Anonymization. What we did was essentially we did a simple integration in our tool where we basically call this tool with a specific config that we will show in a moment that contains all the anonymization settings, right? And then this tool essentially grabs the content, anonymizes it, and then places it in another folder. So to quickly also show you how the config of the anonymizer tool looks like, it's rather straightforward. You can specify what exact properties of your FHIR format data you want to anonymize, and you have several ways or methods to anonymize. You can keep, you can crypto hash, you can encrypt, you can redact. So it's really up to you on what you want to do, right? So very straightforward. Once this stage is done, the content gets also, as I mentioned, persisted in another output folder that it's going to then move on to the publisher stage. So the publisher stage is also here implemented in this, let's say, class library. And if you've seen the publisher process that we have in Visual Studio, so if you can quickly open the publisher process class, you can see here that it's actually, a very straightforward thing. It's essentially looping through that directory, grabbing all the files, and then starting, as efficiently and quickly as possible to post this data to our FHIR server. As mentioned, for this demo, we are using Azure Healthcare API, and this is also backed by Azure Active Directory. So as you can see in our code a little bit above, we actually have some authentication happening here as well. So this is something that's also flexible. You can change and adapt to your own things. So yeah, now I think it's time for a demo here for quickly to show you how the tool is actually working with all of this together. Ibrahim?
Yep, thank you so much, Carlos. So like in this application, as we start, like everything just starting in the app, like app project. So basically like in here, like we are able to like now run like all the processes, and we can just like now import the data and convert it, anonymize it, and publish it. So now like now we will be using our like output folder to just like now use like everything there. And like as an input folder, like as we just show it to you, like it was in like in this data, like this is the CSV format now, and we will be using our templates to just map this data and then get the like converted, then after that like anonymized data. So now this will be starting. So then once it is just running, like you will be able to see like everything will be populated in the output folder. And at the same time, like you can just see like whole process. Like for example, in here, like we are able to successfully get the tabular data, and then like everything will be like placed in here. As you can see, like we got our converted files. So these are like already like now placed in bundle file. And then like we just like hand over to the like anonymizer side. So now like this is just taking a little bit time to just like get this data to be anonymized. Then after that, once it is ready, so the last and final step will be like running. So that is the publish process. So we can just easily see, and we can just easily like grab like one of those. So what we can do, like while it is just like running the process, like as you can see, this is just all converted now, like this is in the publish process. So we will be able to like see like in Postman collection how this data is running. So this is our like FHIR Azure Healthcare API. And once we run this one, so basically like we will be able to get the metadata like of our service, which means like this is up and running. And our server is just pushing the data now, and then we will be able to like see like by patient, and then like see how this is just running. So let's go back to in here. So as you can see, this just start publishing it. If we can go to like publish folder, so you can see like one of the like elements in here. Let's pick like randomly like in there. And what it does, so this is just a converted and anonymized FHIR format. So you can just easily see like some of the fields are like redacted and some of the things are like already there. So for example, in here, like patient ID is like 1006. And if I can just copy this one, and if I can go to Postman, and if I can just like search for this, and if I press like send, so you will be able to see exactly the same version like what we got in here. So already like represented in our FHIR server. So this is really cool. And then we are able to see in some of the cases, as you can see, like crypto hashed and anonymized, and like all of them are like available in here. So let's go back to our sample. So this is just taking a little bit time. And then like once it is done, so everything will be like ready, and then like we are good to go. So now we have like all up and running system, and you can just get all the data and anonymize how you wish.
Yeah, that's about it.
Going back to slide. So moving forward, like especially like we would like to showcase like what we did in here, and then like this is like one of the one of the greatest like open source samples like we just provided. So if you would like to reach us like regarding like this like data ingestion process, you can reach out to me like Ibrahim Kivanc, and at the same time you can reach out to Carlos Sardo. We will be happy to get your questions, and we will be happy to give more details. So now, like we're in the questions and answers section. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, and we would like to get your questions if you have any. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you for the presentation.
So we are ready
there's
to
already
some questions.
sorry. Yeah, there's already one question asked in the Hoover app, so we start with that one. How do you configure the liquid templates to adhere US score R4? Are there any examples of templates you could share?
Yep, definitely. If you wish, I can take this question, Carlos.
Sure, please.
So basically, like our templates are like based on the liquid templates, and what we can do is like we can define our own, and it is up to you, like now, however you would like to provide like the different like the template style. And at the same time, like we have also profiles, so you can just easily provide profiles, and there is a profile checker as well. In the video, we haven't discussed about that one. You can just provide some profiles, and then you can just check if it is compatible with that one, and then you can just move forward. So we just share the link. Like if you can go to that specific link, that will be perfect. I can just give the link again, aka.ms/FHIR Ingestion Tool. So you can just see the whole detail about like how this process is happening and then how we are mapping with the different templates. I hope this gives an answer to your question, Vikas.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, there has been asked another question in the meantime. How does the anonymizer handle free text narrative? Reference.display, which could contain a patient name, for example, and other string fields, which could contain PII, PHI. It seems you have to specify every field in the config.
I'll take this one. That's about correct. So you really need to be careful when you're defining on your anonymizer settings, which fields you want to anonymize. It does not do anything super fancy, as you saw from from that config sample that we showed earlier. You really need to go and specify, hey, I want to, in this property of this entity claim, whatever patient, this string I want to redact, or this string I want to apply this user-defined function that does some extra stuff with some regular expressions. So it's really up to you. I hope this answers also your question.
Okay, thank you. Well, it seems there are no other questions in the Hoover app, so maybe someone in the room would like to ask.
We do have one here in the room.
Ah, that's nice.
Yeah, so I have a question about the liquid templates. So you guys sort of ran through that a little quickly, and it looked like I noticed the ability to do some filtering. I was curious, like, how in depth that is, or like if that filtering involves, you know, for example, like I'm trying to convert observations and I want like observations with a particular attribute to either just not be converted or not go on through the pipeline. Like if you could talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, so I can take this question, Carlos. So basically, sure, for the template like mapping, like now we just use like now another like third-party tool for that one. There's a like liquid that is just giving an ability to have that filtering mechanism in liquid. So that is just giving us an opportunity. Basically, we can just specify like anything, and then in the function as well, like we can provide, and we can just easily go there and then look for like the different tables and then map them like using some specific like IDs with that, and then like we are just applying like anything like we need to do. So like in the sample, like it is already there, like there are some samples. So maybe like if you can just have a look at that, that will be really perfect. And if you have like any like further questions on top of that, so we will be happy to reply for those. And maybe one quick note as well, we couldn't like share the link in here yet, but the main difficulty we face working with the liquid template, so once we load the data, so it is hard to identify nested like liquid templates and how to filter down or how to work with them. One of our colleagues, like Martin Tirion, like who just developed a liquid template notebook. So basically, it is very similar idea like the Python notebooks and then Jupyter notebooks actually. So basically, you can just load your load your data and load your liquid template, and then you can just try and run on the fly, and you can see like how those templates are running as well. So basically, that will be really nice sample. Like if you would like to have a look at that, I think that can just solve like many issues, like just how these filterings are working and how nested liquid templates are just like in place in these kind of scenarios. I hope this answers the question.
Okay, thank you. Well, I see we have one more question. Maybe we can take that one up. FHIR Ingestion Tools is agnostic to the FHIR Server type? Question mark.
We only tested it with Azure Healthcare API, so we didn't really test it with other versions. So it would be a matter of giving it a try. In essence, the publisher, as you probably noticed through the code, or you can just check the open source repo, is just doing post requests to whatever endpoint you configure.
So maybe if I could add on top of that, so for the testing, like we were just checking for the FHIR Server from Microsoft, and at the same time we were just checking with the FHIR. So basically trying to see like how these are just compatible with each other. So basically like we just try to like have the same common behavior between these two platforms as well. And yeah, as Carlos mentioned, so like all the things are happening through the REST API.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Well, we've run out of time. Thanks, Ibrahim and Carlos, for your nice presentation. Thanks, everyone, for attending, and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone, for your time. Have a great day.